guys, and welcome back to another candle review. This one, we're doing a little one that's actually an older one from Bath & Body Works. This one is in Crisp Morning Air. It's a single wick. This is an older one. I'm trying to guesstimate when it's from. I don't think it's from the Slatkin & Co. days, because usually those mention if they were. I think it's newer than that. Trying to read the code on the bottom. I think that translates to it's from 2016, if I'm not mistaken. But this is one of the 4-ounce single wick candles, which retailed for $10 back when this was still out. Now the single wick candles are about $14.50, but they're about twice as big. So there is that payoff. Just saying. I like that they're bigger now than when they were this size. I mean, they lasted a good amount of time when they were this size even. I've still got some that are from the Slatkin & Co. days, back from like, I don't know, 2010. I still have some of those. So, just saying, they do hold up. But, you have to use them sparingly. It's the only downside of that. But the bigger ones that are the single wicks that they sell nowadays, they do last a lot longer. I'll give them that. So, just saying. Anyways, so the smell, or actually, let me read you the scent notes first. So, it's crisp fall breeze, white oak, and golden amber wood. Now, out of that is this beautiful navy blue color. Something about this just smells like men's aftershave or soap to me. Something distinctly reminds me of my grandpa's bathroom. I think it's like a combo of the soap he used to use and his aftershave specifically are like both wrapped up in the scent of this candle. I kind of get that also from Bow Ties and Bourbon, and there's one other one, Mahogany Teakwood. Those three, like, hardcore remind me of him, like a mile a freaking way. Whatever those three have in common reminds me of him big time. I get very emotional and sentimental for it, so. But, looking at the scent notes and smelling it, like, seriously, something about it reminds me of Irish Spring, specifically, in terms of soap. I don't know what aftershave, but the soap, Irish Spring, like, hands down. But, I get the oak. I think I'd probably also get the crisp fall breeze, or their, interpretation of it anyway, given some of their other fall scents that have that scent note in it. I'm not sure about the golden amber wood. Maybe a little, but it's mostly those other two. But it's definitely a more masculine scent, and I kind of love it for that. It's very strong, even on cold. I like that. I'm hoping that, even being this little, it might be strong enough to fill even a larger room like my bedroom is. So, I mean, if not, I can always test it out in my bathroom, see how it does in there, because that's a smaller room. But I really do legitimately think it'll probably hold up even in this room, because it smells strong enough to where I think it will. I feel like looking at the appearance of the top layer in this, well, it kind of reminds me of a petri dish, if we can see what all's going on in here, but it also looks like somebody swiped their finger against the wax. I bought this off of eBay, to be totally honest, but did like the swatch on the back of their hand thing, because that is a way you can check them too. But the wick in this is the braided wick, if you can see it in there. Like, I'm trying to hold it in an angle. Yeah, you can see it. So there is that. The approximate burn time is 20 to 30 hours on this, which is pretty decent for a little bitty baby one. I mean, the 3 wicks, I think, get about that too. So I'm like, those are way bigger and have way more in them. So, the wick is very slightly off-centered in this. We can tell it's close. I'm trying to hold it the angle where you can see it, like, on camera, because of how I'm holding it. There! If I turn it that way, you can see that it is, in fact, off-center a little bit. Because how I was holding it before, I was like, why doesn't it look off? Oh, wait, there we go. It is a little, but I think it's small enough to where it's still going to pool out without issue. So I'm going to go ahead and light this baby up. we're gonna see how it does. I'll let you know how it performs, all the good stuff that I always do, so hang in there. Just more as a note to myself than anything, it's currently 4:20 and I've just lit it up. It's this fairly tallish flame on this. We've got some curling of the wick. So far no mushrooming, but I only just lit it. But look how quickly it's pooling out. Like, it's literally not even been lit for a full minute. So I think we are going to have no issues here, guys. So I will keep you posted. So, update. This has been burning for a little over an hour now, and as you can see, it's mostly pooled out, but it is most definitely off-centered. I'm gonna give it a bit longer, see if it pools out to that outer edge or not, before resorting to tinfoiling it. I think it might be able to do the thing, but it may also need longer, especially being the first burn. I don't want to do it preemptively, so we'll see how it does. I am a little disappointed with how just poor the throw is on this. I thought it was going to be amazingly strong, and it's actually not. I'm standing about a foot away from it, and I'm barely getting little wafts of it, so I'm like, oh, that is definitely not going to fill this whole room. That's disappointing. I thought this was going to be a no-brainer, but oh well, maybe a 3-wick one would do it, because this is a very distinct and heavy scent, but apparently not with a single wick, but again, we'll see how it does. Going on just short of 3 hours of burning now, and I mean, it's pooled out a little more than the last update, but not much. Not much. I mean, I may be willing to let it go a little longer, but I'm thinking I may just help it out a little to get that last side over here, so. Okay, so it's the next day now, and I've played around with this little candle quite a bit. It doesn't look like it much since you can see the line where it started and where it's down to now, but I mean, I've tried this in my bedroom now, and I've tried this in my bathroom now, just have different room sizes to test it out with. It's kind of interesting, my results that I've gotten. Also, I guess nobody really messed with it in the first place like I thought, because look, even after it totally pooling out, it still has that look like somebody, like, rubbed their fingers all over it, and I can assure you, I sure didn't, and no one else has touched it, so apparently that's just how the wax is, and this one is a little bit weird, but that's okay. So, post-burn, does it smell the same? By the way, yes, I do have a shirt on, but I just realized I look like I'm naked. I'm not, but it largely smells the same, but caveat. There is a little bit of an odd, almost gasoline-y type smell. Certain candles get that after you burn them, but not all. I don't know why that is, but this one is one that has that, and I noticed it when I relit it the second time, that even burning it smelled like that. Now, as for how it performed in a large room, well, for the first several hours it was burning. Unless you were about, like, within a foot of it and directly over it, you couldn't even smell the damn thing. I walked in and out of this room so many times, seeing if maybe I'd gone nose blind to it, and come back to it to see if maybe with a fresh palette on my nose, or a cleansed palette, or whatever the wording we're looking for is, maybe I'd smell it, and no. Nothing. Until I tinfoiled it a little bit to get that last little sliver, which only took a few freaking minutes, by the way, which made it uber frustrating that I waited all those hours to get it to pool out, that last little bit, and I could have just done that in, like, 5-10 minutes. Done. But, when I did that, as usual, it did pump up the intensity, because it got hotter, I guess, and, it threw a little further then. It made it to about halfway throughout this room, which I would say is about half of this room. It made it about maybe 8 or 10 feet away where you could smell it. So again, in a small room, this would probably be fine, but in a larger room, not so much, because from the doorway, I could not smell it at all. So I let it keep burning for a couple more hours, even after I'd finished tinfoiling it and took the foil back off. And eventually it did get to where you could very, very, very faintly smell it all the way over to the door. Barely. you couldn't really discern what it was. You could just kind of tell something's there. Like, if you knew that this candle was burning and knew what it smelled like, you could probably identify it as that, but otherwise you'd be like, oh, there's something that smells a little bit good in here, but I don't know what it is, or where it's coming from. It was just so faint, though, to where I'm like, oh, that's really disappointing, and definitely reminds me why I buy the bigger candles for in this room. This is very much a bathroom candle. So I let it cool, and like I blew it out and all that good stuff. I did not do the thing where you cap it to keep the smoke in, so that's not where the odd smell's coming from. Just is there, I think it's from part of the wick, which did eventually start to mushroom out a little. Not a lot, though. It just did it a little. But anywho, I took it into the bathroom after it had fully cooled and everything, and had a little time to just settle. I brought it in there, I lit it up. After just a couple of hours that time, it did entirely fill that room, to where it was actually pretty strong in there. So it is absolutely all about room size of where you put these. Because even, like, sitting fairly close to it, like, while I had this burning in my bedroom, I was sitting all of maybe 3 feet away from it, and most of that time it was burning. I couldn't even smell it, even that close to it. I guess a lot of it was just being lost in the ambient space. So there's that. Hold on just a second. Okay, sorry about the interruption there. There hopefully won't be another one before I finish this video. Anyways, so like I was saying, even sitting a few feet away from it while this was burning for hours on end, I didn't really smell it. There's a few times I got like a waft of it, and that was about it. So it was very different having it in a small enclosed little bathroom. And actually, my bathroom isn't like tiny, so I suppose if you had it in a really, really small one, it would probably be too much for that. But I mean, I wouldn't say it's a huge bathroom, but a decently sized bathroom in there. It's very strong in a room about that size, so, I mean, you know, it absolutely has to do with how contained the space is that this is throwing into, and I guess it's bouncing the smell around within those walls, versus just getting lost in a larger room. So, I don't know, I mean, overall, I would say, if you're, like, I guess I would give it 2 ratings, because in a larger room, yeah, this honestly kind of fails. I would give it maybe, like, a 1.5 out of 5 for in a larger room. But, in a smaller room, I would probably actually give this a 4. I won't give it a 5 only because that odd gasoline-ish smell that it started to pick up after a while. And because it had a hard time pooling out to the very edge on its own. But I guess if you have, like, a perfectly centered wick one, it probably wouldn't give you that trouble, so anyways. I'm sure that they've probably improved this one since this particular release, since I know they sell it in the bigger single wick jars now that are like the 7-ounce ones. So maybe they do better. I don't know. I don't have one of those. I don't know if I'm gonna pick one up or not. I might. I mean, if money allows, I might. But right now, I'm strapped. So if they're still selling the fall stuff and I'm not, maybe. But anywho, at least for this particular edition of it, which I don't think I've really seen anybody review this particular version of it. Yeah, it's got 2 very distinct ratings, so I guess, like, the average between the 2, if I had to combine them into one, would maybe be, like, a 2.5 out of 5. So, I mean, I would say just spring and get the larger candle of this if you're trying to burn this in a larger room. If you only need it for a very small room, a single wick will do ya, but 3 wick for the bigger room. It's absolutely essential, I've found, for pretty much all candles. I've found a few exceptions to that rule, but most of them, yeah, you need the bigger ones. So anyways, guys, that is it for this one. I have had this sitting around for so long and wanting to burn it. I'm so glad that now I can burn it without shame because I finally reviewed it. So anywho, that is it. You guys know what to do. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like. If you're not already and you'd like to be, click subscribe, hit that notification bell icon so you never miss an upload, leave comments down below. Make sure you're following my social media accounts, my Facebook fan page, my Instagram, my Twitter, my Etsy, everything and more. It's all down below. And if you like what I do here on this channel and you'd like to help support it, the donation link, as always, is down in the description. So anyway, guys, till next time, bye-bye.